Hello, I'm Patricia McNeely from Twin Flame Body. I'm a Blu-ray Rod and Staff Union Twin Flame from Chicago, Illinois. How are you today? Today I want to talk to you about this full moon energy and actually the post moon energy that's going to keep pushing here as we are firmly doing some closure from the Lionsgate energy. Now, what is the Lionsgate energy? Lionsgate is the heliacal rising of some of the energy from the star system of Sirius. Sirius has been a very significant healing place for twin flame couples, twin flame people. And this is part of some of what is perceived as a delay, where people say, what's happening? And you've been waiting for certain points so that you can go through the gates and close the gate behind you, close the door behind you. So what some of this energy is going to be from about now till August 18th, 20th, is that there is a firm push to get your stuff done. And when I say get your stuff done, this means is really, it's down to you now. You have to take care of you. And a lot of people have realized this from last year. They say, well, I think I'm going to just focus on myself. You really have to focus on you now. What it is that you need, what you want, and no dilly-dallying about it, because the energy is going to shift forward again. And this is your opportunity to sort of kind of ride that wave, ride that energy that helps you, that actually supports you, even though it can feel like you're getting a pushback. So in some ways, this can almost feel like some sort of long extended retrograde. Here we are in 2020. 2020 is a year of transformation. Transformation means making changes. What are some of those changes? You kick out of your life what you don't need to, what you don't need, and what you need to kick out. That's really hard for people to do because that means saying goodbye. There are people coming to the realization that someone that they've hung on to, they don't really have feelings for anymore. And yet they might say, where are those feelings gone? They're deep inside you. They haven't disappeared. There are people on the other side of a union who are going to start to have the dawning realizations of things that aren't working in their life. Now, you cannot hang your hat on that, meaning you cannot count on them making all the moves just so you can make a move. That's still duality. If you do this, then I'll do that. If I do this, then you should do that. You have to do things for you because there is your side. So there is a big purge of unwanted lives, even this life and situations. So there's been a lot of things coming up about living with someone who's an addict, living with someone who's a drunk, alcoholic, whatever you want to call it, someone who goes a little bit too far with their, alcohol or alcohol, drugs, smoking, and it is really starting to grate. In fact, there's something to know. You have a set of subtle bodies. I know about those. I did a video that said your subtle bodies matter. Your body matters. You have to make this a body thing now. This is not a mind thing. This is not something you're going to phone in through outer space. Everything you need is being brought here, and that is why the doors are closing. You can't go to the past, nor do you have to go to the past to retrieve things. However, past lives, past patterns, ancestral curses, ancestral and ethnic pain bodies, they're all coming up, and they're a part of that block mentality, what we call mob mentality, pack mentality, following the herd mentality, you name it, whatever it gets called. It's down to you now and what you want. Maybe you don't like this certain group of people, but you like some individuals in it. Okay, start changing your life to coincide with that. Maybe it's time to start really feeling again. Do you know how many people that drink, drugs, smoke, don't feel? A lot of people like to escape. There's a escaping and avoiding of life that can now conclude, and it has to, because there's been a lot of negligence. And I know this because I went and did some grid work about it. Not at the places you might think. at local places, at a local mechanic, where if they change oil, what happens if someone leaves that little cap off? That's what happened. I was guided to go to this one place. The man is an artist. He has his own artwork. He opens up his shop for a once a year annual sort of open house. And, you would think it's a combination mechanic garage and art studio. It's pretty cool. But I was guided to go there to help remove that energetic of escapism so that people are not negligent, so that they're not completing tasks that need to be completed, so that there's no forgetting of put the oil cap so that someone just doesn't run out and like their car seizes up on the road or on a road trip or something. Now, I'm not in charge of those parts. All I know is I was going in to do some grid work about that, because abuse is one thing, negligence is something else. And this needs to be purged. Your brand new body template, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and call it the template of 5D romantic relationship, because too many people are losing the romance. If you don't hang on to the romance with all these things that have to happen, that's on you too. I'm here to remind you of that and guide you. Be romantic in every single step of this journey. Otherwise, it is all off. You're going to be lost out there with the block mentality of this, because it's not about narcissism. It's about stopping that neglect, that negligence, that non-nurturance, the things that aren't love. That's what it's about. So when I say unwanted lives, what is the life you have? Is it a life you really want right now? What do you want out of your life? Some people don't even know because they don't know themselves well enough. And that's been the way it has been, but not anymore. Not today. Today it's time to pay attention to you and focus on the things that you really, really are here for. So even in this life, are there situations that you were subjected to as a child that you don't want repeated for anybody, much less your own children? Of course. It could be anything. It could be things like, well, we didn't have proper dental care. I really want that. I want, things that are necessary to make it easy to eat and chew and enjoy, as it should be. There are deep-seated, rooted things within people that have been making them having to stay with the wrong people. This is why everyone could seem like they're just hunkering down around a campfire, surviving in the same tribe, marrying the same people, seeing the same faces, having the same in-laws, having the same people weigh in on every single decision that you have to make about your life. And some people still are subjected to that. Some people have been subject to how things have been in a past life. Now, let's say you had a past life where, your husband told you what to do, or your wife was the person who always was, bringing the family out of a crisis. Is that always the way it's going to be? No. What about sicknesses and illnesses that run in a family that sometimes people call curses? Hey, I'm cursed with high blood pressure. Hey, I'm cursed with high cholesterol. It's a family curse. We all have it. Every female in my family has something wrong with their breast. Well, why is that? Other kinds of curses actually do come from being ostracized, kicked out, disenfranchised. This is where some of it comes from, and it can afflict an entire group of people because it has. So this has to boil down to you paying attention to starting to shift yourself and getting the pains of the past out of you and getting yourself reconnected, connected to your subtle bodies. Because while you could say the body has a memory, that's true. Sometimes your body remembers trauma. But more often than not, you want to remember the good stuff, the good parts of life, and have a plan and be a part of the divine plan, because spinning around and looping, the DM is doing this. What are the DM? Are they a bunch of lemmings that just run over the cliff this way and run over the cliff that way? I mean, that, again, like, where is that even coming from? How did that become a thing? But it's a thing. It's a thing out there, and I'm telling you, time to make this personal. Time to take personal charge of your own integration of your own subtle bodies, because it is not a given. It is something you have to participate in. And I couldn't be any plainer than saying that, but I know there's people that don't want to hear that. They back off and they go, well, when God decides. You're a part of God. Why aren't you deciding and letting God know? I mean, why is that? Don't back off from the things that you can do, because sometimes there is only so much you can do from a human level. Because I know a lot of people will say, well, I'm good. Well, I'm good. And inside they're like this. They're like, oh, things are changing. What's going to happen this year? I don't know. Oh God, I can't even see the future. And then they run around from place to place and start saying, maybe this, maybe that. Start to get the guidance from where it needs to come from, which is minimum the fifth dimension. Fifth dimension, source, God, and it has to be in that order. It's not the collective mind, because the people that break away from the collective mind are the ones that start to advance, are the ones who don't play those games anymore, are the ones who don't feel affected by the fears. There are real deep fears that are real. They are not imagined. They're based in something that has happened to you. That is what I help people with. I help you remove it so that you're free, so that that thing that felt like a lead weight and affected you so much and made your heart just go haywire, it can be moved. It can be removed. I removed the boulders. So your personal life, what about addictions? Have you been affected by someone else's addictions? Whatever that addiction is it gambling? We don't talk about gambling in the spiritual arenas here or in Twin Flame Landia, but guess what? It's a real thing. People gamble. People gamble their family's money. People gamble money that they should be applying to something else. It's an issue. It's an issue in marriages. What about addicted to being a rageaholic? Yeah, any little thing just to get that rage going. What about domestic violence that comes as the result of some of that stuff? Domestic violence is a real thing. There's plenty of people with broken bones, fat lips, blackened eyes, bumps on the head that aren't bumps on the head, children that have witnessed this. It's time to really talk about this, because it can't be swept under the rug. It's time for removal and healthy relationships. What about inner child issues? This is not just what someone has been affected by as a child. In fact, in my country, child labor laws were just put into place probably about 80 to 100 years ago to actually let children have a childhood. How many lives have you had where you really had no childhood? You didn't know what being a child was like. Maybe because you had small, nimble fingers, you were put into crevices to dig out gems from a mine or a cave or something at someone else's behest, and you were given a meal as your payment. And then you lived a very short life and you died. So what kind of childhood is that? That still happens, by the way, out there in the world. There are still aspects of human trafficking and other aspects of servitude, being enslaved somehow, a slave to a job, because there's really no choices and there's no education. Inner child issues. A lot of these need to be addressed. Abandonment is a big one. So how does this play out in your personal life? You know what it can feel like? It can feel like even if you're with someone, there's nobody there. You have no support, Nobody's supporting you. And you keep looking around saying, where is my support? What's going on? Why am I not supported? I'm such a good person. Yeah, you are. But that alone doesn't get you it. It doesn't happen on merit. It happens because of who you are. And because of who you are, you have to pull it up from the inside to match the upper part. I know how to help you with that. These can include things such as your origins, the things that have hindered people, or the healing that has only gone so far. Like we are seeing now with this Lionsgate energy, the energy of Sirius and ancient Egypt. Not everyone was in that timeline, but this is a general, movement so that people can put closure to the past, because whether or not you were there, you probably were affected by it in the subsequent centuries, somehow, some way, one way or another. Whether it's the black magic that originated there, other curses, it's all kinds of stuff. All kinds of stuff. Cults of death. Yeah, those things are real. And that can sound really scary to people who want the spiritual stuff. They want the lighter stuff. I'm here to help you get on the light side, because you are the light and the love. Ethnic and ancestral pain groups. We are seeing this big time. This is something that has needed to be addressed. This could be anything from, a group of people that feels very fatalistic because of genocide. They could feel very depressed and their metabolisms are not well because of servitude and slavery. They can feel completely out of things, or they can feel a sense of, other things like we're only here to do this. You're actually much more than what your ancestry maybe has been teaching you. And you don't have to be a world history major to know about this, because most world history is only taught from a certain perspective. There's a lot more to history than people even realize. But the good news is I'm here to help you easily remove the negative things, the traumas, the cataclysmic things, the unwanted things, those lives of deep, deep disappointment. What about some of the other emotion? Feeling defeated. How do you get beyond feeling defeated? When you know that you have to keep putting one foot in front of the other and making your way in the world, and you're between that place, you say, I can't go back here, I can't really go on this, it's not going to be sufficient for me, but I can't stay in this relationship, I want to be over here. How do you do it? You have to engage your subtle body, particularly the first one, your spirit subtle body, your heart, the cosmic heart connections. I recommend a cosmic heart session, and the psyche subtle body session for these deep, deep, deeply seated, rooted issues that are there. It doesn't take you 6 months to go through inner child issues. Some people like to take that long. It doesn't take that long. It's something that you really have to just buckle down and be like, I'm going to roll up and I'm going to have this session. I'm going to have the session and I'm going to start getting moving with this. So I've been helping people and the sessions have been fabulous, off the hook, quick, rapid movements of things. Yes, purging, because I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I tell you what to do. I give you expectations. I take notes on sessions and I follow up to you with a little to-do list of here's what to expect, here's what you should do. Keep it going. You need at least 3 of those. So I did some, comparison here. If you did some of the things for integration of your light body, of your subtle bodies, of the complement of things that need to connect the two of you, you'll be ahead. Because sometimes when people don't, that's when all of these things start having the reversal effect and they start making someone feel not so well. So if you have questions, email me at twinflamebody@gmail.com and check out my website. I'm happy to announce that I have 3 of my practitioners who have taken my Twin Flame Body Practitioner course ready to start also helping, because this is on and we're past the point of no return. There's only going forward to love and romance. Thank you. Bye.